your address? 331. Already? Yeah.
I think it's time. Looking over there, director.
You're done. Go back last. When you come up, speak in that microphone, there's a button there to the right, on there, to the right of
Zoning Board of Appeals meeting will come to order. Please rise for our invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, we thank you for allowing us to gather here today to serve our community. We ask for wisdom, understanding, discernment as we make decisions that affect the lives and livelihoods of others. Grant us the integrity in the discussion, unity in our purpose, and clarity in our judgment. Let every word spoken today be done with respect, fairness, and the best interests of those we represent. Bless our city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Welcome to the regular scheduled public meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Shreveport-Caddo Parish Metropolitan Planning Commission. For public hearing agenda items, if you wish to make public comment on an application, we have comment slips at the speaker stand next to the podium. For future notification purposes, it is very important that you fill out a slip and drop it into the box when you come forward to speak. Please state your full name, mailing address, zip code before addressing the board. We will call each case on the agenda in order and hear first from the applicant, then those speaking in favor. 10 minutes are allotted for the principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. We will then hear from those wishing to speak against an applicant. Again, 10 minutes are allotted for each principal spokesperson and 3 minutes for each additional speaker. One representative of the applicant may then speak in rebuttal if desired. After hearing comments on each case, the board will then immediately deliberate and vote on the case before moving on to the next case on our agenda. Please note that when the board is deliberating, members of the public are not permitted to comment. Any member of the public may request a copy of the board's decision on a particular case by contacting our office at 318-673-6480 after 1 p.m. tomorrow, or by accessing the website at ShreveportCaddoMetropolitanMPC.com. All ZBA board decisions on variance to zoning within the city limits of Shreveport are subject to appeal to district court. All ZBA board decisions on special exception use within the city limits of Shreveport are subject to appeal to city council. Please note that it is your responsibility to contact either district court or the city council about a particular procedure that relates to the matter you are concerned with. Copies of this document and the phone numbers to contact the governing body are available on this table next to the podium and an entryway to the room. As a courtesy, please remember to turn off all cell phones while the ZBA is in session. The Zoning Board of Appeals values your testimony and appreciate your compliance with these guidelines. May I please have a motion to accept the minutes from the previous meeting? It's been moved by Ms. Melissa Anderson and seconded by Dr. Brandon, may we vote? The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. The first case on our agenda for today is case number 2534-BAC variance. Megan Gardner, please come forward. Thank you. Please state your name, phone number, and address.
Megan Gardner. Did you say what else? My address?
Yes.
340,
Yes.
sorry, I couldn't hear. It's 349 Albert Avenue.
Okay, and your phone number?
Like my 31847.
No, I need a phone
Yeah.
number, okay. All right. Please present your case. I'm sorry.
Sorry, my name is Megan Gardner. I'm the homeowner of 349 Albert Avenue here in Shreveport. I've unfortunately been the victim of stalking and harassment by my immediate next door neighbors at 347 Albert Avenue, standing directly behind me, Mr. Jerry Greer and Susan Lamart. Susan and Jerry have been the one home on our block that has caused constant issues for every neighbor for many, many, many years. As a single female, I've worked hard to maintain a civil relationship with them to avoid being one of their countless victims, but that changed the evening of August 11th, 2023, when Susan charged me in my front yard in her t-shirt and underwear, yelling and telling me that I was contaminating the neighborhood and raw sewage. On this date, they were told verbally and in writing not to contact me, speak to me, or step foot on my property. To this day, I've not spoken to them. Unfortunately, their obsession with me has never stopped, and they continue to harass me. I'm not a perfect person. I'm not always nice, as much as I try to be, but I've never done a single thing to these individuals. I've never done one thing to end up being fearful for my life for the last several years. I did have a 6-foot privacy fence built very quickly after the August 11th event, and also after an event that summer where they used their cameras or mirror equipment to spy on me in my backyard, and I was in my backyard in a bathing suit and on a Saturday, and suspiciously that night at 9:30 p.m., Mr. Greer called to tell me how amazing my backyard looked. The implication was quite obvious. There's been never-ending episodes of harassment ever since that night. I've tried to stay calm. I try to stay in my house like a prisoner. I've never retaliated back. I've never said a word. In March of 2024, not only my 90-year-old neighbor across the street from them had a stroke, his personal physician had to call SPD on them for the harassment of him. May 29th of 2024 is when I finally had to call SPD on my situation because Susan, and wearing a mask and gloves, started throwing an unidentified substance into my yard, witnessed by my neighbors and a friend who are both here today. The police couldn't find anything in my yard, but they did find piles and piles of bread along the property line because they know I'm terrified of rats. And they said that they told the police this was for squirrels, but putting out lots of rats, as you'll know, will kill many wildlife, especially the bird population. There's been multiple run-ins with the police. They don't sleep at night. They would sit on our property line and stare at my house. They would talk about where in my house I was, even though they've never been invited into my house. I ended up being moved out of my house in the middle of the night due to scary circumstances and didn't come home for a few months. When I did come home, I had another fencing company come, a licensed and insured fencing company, who told me that the code was 20 feet from the sidewalk. I didn't know to think otherwise. So I had the 6-foot fence that had only been up a year taken down and this 8-foot fence put up. and I had it extended out into the yard because it blocks the majority of their view of my property in the front, and I'm able to safely enter and exit my house without being stalked and stared at like I was being. And it also needs to be 8 feet because they have a side porch and also a view from their kitchen of my property. Mr. Greer has shown people that he has a firearm that he keeps with him at all times in his wheelchair. And knowing that, I've just been fearful for my life since. They were very upset about the fence, and even though at that time we were under a protective order that for stalking and harassment that was signed by Judge Chris Victory, June 24th of 2024, they were still doing things past the fence, with the fence, you know, you name it. The police have had me put up cameras everywhere. I typically don't go into my front yard unless I know someone else is present. They try to say stuff to me when I'm in my front yard if they catch me unaware, and I always run inside. On January the 8th of just a week or two ago, January 8th, 2026, it was my day off. I was doing some yard work. They had a yard man in their front yard. I never spoke to him. He never spoke to me. But when they came home, they were irate, I guess, that I was in my yard. They came out of their van screaming. I ran inside. She proceeded to film my yard for a solid 5 minutes that I got on camera, and then had altercations with other neighbors, and the police were called. I'm not doing anything to instigate. I'm trying to live my life in peace, and many people ask why I continue to stay in such an environment. My beloved diabetic dachshund is 15. She's been diabetic for 8 years now. She's lost her sight. She knows how to navigate that house, and I would like to stay there as long as she's alive. And I feel like with a home that I own, I should have that right, and I should feel safe in my home, which they've taken away from me. I've spent countless dollars trying to protect myself, and I said this fence doesn't completely make me feel safe, but it's the only sense of safety I have, and if I have to have it removed, I will have to vacate my house immediately, and I feel that will be the end of my dog's life, as at this point she's comfortable at home, but every time we leave, since she can't see, I can't maintain her blood sugars, and I'm actually unable to have human children, and she is my child. My cat's also 19, so I would like them to be able to live out their life where they're at. The rest of the neighbors, we all get along great. In fact, they've probably pushed us into all being better friends. This is the only problem, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of laws to protect you from neighbors that act like this. I don't know, there's so many stories I could say. I know when we went to the protective order hearing, they said that they brought pictures of their best friend that was a squirrel, and on 8x10s, and said that was their best friend, and the squirrel likes to be in the branches over my house. And that's not fair that they can't be over there. I don't know what else to do. I should be seeing, I'm a pediatrician. I should be seeing 15, 20 children in my office this afternoon that I can't be seeing because I'm here. I can't tell you how much financially they've drained me. I just want to be safe. I want to have peace. I don't want conflict. I just wish that they would pretend that I didn't exist. And honestly, the fence gives them that right. They don't have to see me as frequently when the fence is up. And you tell me, if someone hates their neighbor, would they want to see them more? Not unless you're obsessed with them, and that's the problem. I put up some Halloween decorations. They were spying on me as soon as I walked in my house. Mr. Greer immediately wheeled down the sidewalk to stare at my yard. It's unbelievable. Everyone says I should have a Netflix series, but no one should have to live like this. Everyone should feel safe in their own home. And I hope that I get to continue to live in my home for my pets, but I Still won't feel safe, but that's the only way I will stay there.
Is that it, Ms. Gardner? Or is all?
I mean, I could talk all day about the things that have happened, but I think y'all probably have better things to do with your time.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions from the board? Any questions? Well, I have one. How long have you had the fence up?
The fence came up, it was August to September of 2024 for me to be able to move back.
And has it proven to give you some relief?
Yes, but it's kind of like psychological warfare. You just never know when something's going to happen. But you know, since that fence has been up, you know, they did get very rowdy initially and just hung out at the end of the driveway. But I think that got kind of old, and like I said, it has significantly decreased the amount of issues that I've had.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very much for your testimony. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? Please come forward. Sir?
No, I'm opposed.
Oh, I said in favor, sir. Anyone else in favor of this applicant, please come forward.
One, okay.
Thank you very much. Please state your name, mailing address, and zip code, please.
Debbie Franklin, 56 Turnberry Drive, 71111.
Thank you, Ms. Franklin. You have 3 minutes.
I fully consider the fence variance necessary for the property line at 349 Albert. Megan is facing a hardship without the fence, a great hardship. I have known Megan Gardner, also known as Dr. Gardner, to her patients and the beloved Dr. G for 14 years. She is an upstanding pillar of the community. She always goes above and beyond for everybody and everything. She gives of herself tirelessly and endlessly. Not only is she the doctor to my babies, but she is also a friend. She is the most dedicated and loving and most amazing doctor in person. With that being said, over the past several years, I have witnessed the total harassment, torture, vandalism, and mental anguish this has caused Megan. She is finally has a bit of peace and privacy with the fence on her property. It is a hardship for Megan not to have the fence. The harassment has caused her to be afraid to put up her beloved Winter Wonderland Christmas decorations that all of her patients and public look forward to every year. This display brings so much joy to the city and people that make the trip just to see it. She's even won awards for her display from the TV station. The harassment and fear for her safety and that of her precious Benny has made her afraid to put up the display. It has made her afraid to even be able to enjoy the privacy of her own yard and home and to take Benny outside for fear of harassment and stalking. This is not okay. I have driven by to look at the awesome Christmas decorations that Megan always puts out, and I've seen these neighbors in question stalking her yard. I have seen it with my own eyes. It is very intimidating to people just wanting to enjoy the beautiful decorations and take their children. I've also seen endless videos of them stalking and threatening and harassing Megan. The fence in question was put up to provide much needed and deserved solace, privacy, and peace to Megan and Benny. Everyone deserves to go home to peace and privacy in their own home. Megan has not been able to do this in years due to these neighbors' constant harassment and intimidation. The mental anguish that they have caused and continue to cause Megan and Benny needs to stop. It needs to stop now. The fence provides a bit of peace to her. This is a unique circumstance, and the hardship on Megan is extreme. No one should have this placed on them by out-of-control neighbors. No one. I have witnessed Megan going from a fun-loving and happy person to someone that is in fear to be in her own home, fear for herself and Benny. She has spent her savings and many days off work trying to protect and defend herself from the harassment and mental anguish these people have caused and are causing. Again, no one deserves to live that way, especially due to the harassment from hateful neighbors that make it their will and their mission to make her and others miserable in their own home. What they have done and continue to do is criminal. It needs to stop. I fully support the need for the fence variance on her property line. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the board? If there are no questions, is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Please come forward.
Hi,
Please state your name, mailing address, and zip code, please.
my name is Elizabeth Lewin. I live at 350 Albert Avenue, 71105. I had written a letter or an email to Mr. Smith, and I'm just going to read that if that's okay.
It's okay.
Okay. So, my name is Elizabeth Lewin. I live across the street at 350 Albert Avenue. I'm frequently sitting on my front porch watching my two young children play, so I have witnessed 347 Albert's erratic behavior for a few years now. From my observations, the residents at 347 Albert Avenue are frequently invading Megan's privacy. Just a few days ago, 347 was observed peeping around Megan's privacy objects and appeared to be recording or taking photos of Megan's yard for approximately 5 minutes. It's uncomfortable, and if I had lived next door, that would make me really uncomfortable, someone just videotaping my yard. I've witnessed the female at 347 Albert Avenue snooping and peeping behind both neighbors' fences on either side of her yard, and it just makes you wonder, like, why is she so worried about what's going on behind other people's fences when they're not even bothering her? The point of Megan's privacy fence is so she can have as little contact with 347 Albert as possible. I was a witness in Megan's court case for a restraining order against these individuals where she won due to their bizarre and stalking behaviors. It has unfortunately expired, and I'm worried for Megan. It's very unfortunate that she cannot be comfortable in her own home due to their stalking behaviors. I cannot imagine having a neighbor that was coming into my private areas and recording. But I can sort of relate because the female at 347 Albert Avenue has been caught taking videos and pictures of my children in their swimsuits and then becoming irate when I told her to stop. Since the fence issue began, I've been trying to think of every possible reason as to why 347 Albert has an issue with the privacy fence. From my observation, the fence does not block view of the road, and it does not cause any sort of possible blocked viewing to back out of their driveway. Due to where the fence is positioned, the only possible explanation that I can think of is that they want access to continue to stalk Megan, and the fence is too high to do so. And I'm using the word stalk repeatedly throughout this letter because the definition and goal fits the scenario: to exert control, express obsession, and or intimidate a specific person. And I could honestly go on and on about their inappropriate behaviors, but that would take too much of your day.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions from the board? Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Please come forward. Please state your name, mailing address, and zip code, please.
Elizabeth Kovar, 525 Southwood Drive in Bossier, 71111.
Thank you. You may begin.
I met Megan, well, it's been 10 and a half years ago when I moved back into the state, and she became my son's pediatrician. She was recommended due to being phenomenal with medically complex children, and my child had plenty of those. He's a zebra, as we call them in the medical world. You wouldn't know it now because of how phenomenal of a physician she is. We also bonded over having dachshunds, as y'all have heard of Wiener Wonderland. Over the course of time, we just became better and better friends. Many times she was my spine when I couldn't. However, what these people have done to her these last few years is unconscionable. No one should have that fear of going home because you have no idea what they are doing. On May 29th, 2024, the text we were getting, our group text was getting, was so disturbing. I was like, there's no way. So I called the other friend on the message and I said, I'm heading that way now. I'll be there in 15 minutes. When I got there, what they didn't realize is I went in through the side and shut the doors, but I watched the female put gloves on and start just tossing stuff into her yard while she's wearing a mask. Well, that's just weird and suspicious. Then she goes back in and goes back over to her yard and takes the gloves off. So I had Megan call the cops. We go outside and realize the neighbor that just spoke was outside with her husband and her kids were on their water slide. So we go over to talk to them to see if they saw what she was throwing. Well, then the lady starts filming the children in their swimsuits as we're all watching this going, oh my gosh. So of course they confronted her. She starts losing her mind, but then she proceeds to say she's already got an album full of stuff in her house of pictures. It was very disturbing. So the cops get there. It took about an hour because SPD is short-staffed. But they did finally get there. They did talk to them about videoing children, but they just took statements from others. But in the meantime, other neighbors came out. And the neighbor that Megan talked about where the physician had to call the police, the daughter had to deal with her calling Adult Protective Services on her because she denied her entry into the home to visit her father right after that stroke. The neighbor a couple of doors down also said when they denied her entry into their house, she just kept coming back and repeatedly cussing them out at the door because they look really cute and sweet, but they are not. They are truly the nightmares on Albert Street, and nobody deserves that. Not a soul, especially one that dedicates her whole life to caring for children. There is no excuse for their behavior, and the fact that this is happening after that restraining order expired just tells you what they are doing. Nobody should have to spend thousands of dollars every year to renew a restraining order to keep from being constantly harassed by these two. It's just not okay for anyone. And the fact that even when he violated the restraining order, it took either 1 or 2 weeks to even get booked because SPD didn't have a vehicle to come pick him up. So he had to arrange for his own transportation to go get booked and got immediately released. He did not spend a night in jail, even though we all know he has a gun.
Ms. Covell, your time has expired. I apologize to you, but are there any questions? Thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Please come forward. Before you begin, thank you for coming forward. Before you begin, I would ask that if you would please refrain from talking about the neighbors in any disparaging way. That's not what we're here to hear. But what we want to hear, what I want to hear, is your support for the fence and what effects it has on the neighborhood and for her protection, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Well, I'm perfect to speak to that. I'm Brittany Sanders Shepard. I'm a former practicing attorney and a current realtor in Shreveport, Bossier. Yes, Brittany Sanders Shepard.
Your address. And
303 Tanyard Trace, Benton, Louisiana, 71006.
thank you very much. You may testify.
I've been friends with Dr. Gardner, Megan, for over 20 years. She is a very well-respected pediatrician. She's someone that my children have seen, both of my children, my 11-year-old and my 8-year-old. I have witnessed throughout the last several years the effect that the behavior of these neighbors have had on Dr. Gardner, on Megan, on her mental state, on her fear, on her ability to enjoy life, to have the right to access her own property without being in fear, the way that it has affected her mentally, the psychological warfare that she's experienced. I believe that this fence gives her the ability to feel more comfortable in her own, at her own home, at her own residence. She is truly looking for peace. She wants to treat the children that she treats. She wants to live in peace. She's lived at that home for a very long time. When I went to sell 350 Albert as a realtor several years back, these neighbors came to every open house and were very, very, very nosy. It was not in my opinion, they were not there to know about the home or the sale of the home or how it would affect their property. They were there to, in my opinion, harass and get information that was not necessarily relevant to the sale of that home. I feel like Megan feels very comfortable with the fence. I feel like it really helps her with her mental ability, feeling safe in her home. And as a well-respected pediatrician, I feel like In my opinion, she has given a lot to the community. She's given a lot of her time to various causes, charitable events. She has the right to enjoy the safety of her front yard, her home at her current address, and that's how I feel.
Thank you very much for your testimony. Any questions from the board? Thank you very much. You may be seated. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? If not, is there anyone wishing to speak against this application? Please come forward. Please state your full name, mailing address, and zip code, please.
My name is Jerry Greer.
Jerry Greer? Did you say Greer?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to get it.
Oh, thank you. Uh, 347 Albert Avenue, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71105.
Thank you very much. You may begin.
I'm Jerry. That's my lovely wife, Susan. I'm 68. She's 73. Megan put up a fence that was against the law, that was 8 foot tall, and pictures are 1,000 words. So I brought you about 7,000 words. There's the fence from the front of her house on is 8 foot, and then there's 2 big planters that are poorly made and a real eyesore to the neighborhood. I feel like it brings down our property value. It doesn't fit the character of the neighborhood. It's also a safety hazard for my wife backing up out of her low-profile Honda Civic. It's also a hazard for emergency vehicles being able to spot my house in a hurry for an emergency. The fence makes me feel isolated and boxed in. There's another picture of the planter, and you can see how it degrades the neighborhood. It makes me feel isolated. We feel, we feel like the neighbors have grouped together and are targeting us. We feel afraid and been coerced into staying out of our own front yard. Megan is paranoid. She has 4 Ring cameras and 2 trail cameras and a motion detector light pointed directly at our house. And what's weird, 3 of them point just at the fence. But we never have harassed her. In fact, I haven't spoken to her since the middle of August 2024. This started when we were throwing bread in the front yard for the squirrels and the birds. She called the police on us 3 days in a row saying that we were throwing bread in her yard. There was no bread ever found in her yard. After that, she filed a restraining order she wanted us to pay for mental therapy for herself And she said that she was afraid of rats. And that's why she didn't want the bread out there. We had been throwing sunflower seeds because of her dog's diabetes, but the dog's permanently inside now. And turned out that the rats are addicted to sunflower seeds. It actually promotes rats. But we feel like our fears are unreasonable. We did have to go to court for a protection order. And the only reason that she won that is because I broke the temporary protection order by calling the water department on her crushed sewer line to see if she had fixed it, because she said she did, and she didn't. She's responsible all the way to the middle of the street. And I think she's had a vengeance against us since that, because she thought we were going to tell on her, which we didn't. We tried to warn her that the company she was keeping in the neighborhood was undesirable. We feel like we're bullied because we're disabled senior citizens. I've lived there 30 years, had nothing like this ever occur. Used to, the neighborhood was fun. I had block parties in the front yard. I could go in and out of people's houses as if I was family. Nothing's ever happened until Megan Gardner moved in, and we were friends for 16 years. I killed a water moccasin one time for her, caught her dog, and brought back to her. We were very cordial until we said something about the crushed sewer line, and that triggered it. I just wanted to stop. I think it's time to break the era and just move on. We ignore her. Her and the neighbors on the other side have harassed our yard men to the point that this one has quit. The yard man said, "I'm tired of coming over here," and the neighbors come out and harass me. And I understand. I don't blame him. So, and can I ask you some questions real fast?
Actually,
Can
we
you
do the
show this
asking,
over
but.
Well, first I want to show you, this is my house. This is the front of my house, and that's the fence going out, and then the planter. And then you can do these real fast. That's just some of the Ring cameras pointed directly at us. But I wanted to see, I tried to educate myself as good as I could. Did I hand you that? Is this still current as far as laws go on denying a variance? It's usually not granted. Can I leave that on there, please? It's usually not granted if it's for personal reasons. I do have to read it, please. Can't see that far. It says, denial of a variance for personal safety. To get a variance, you must prove hardship related to the land, not personal situation. This one even goes on to say personal safety concerns like a protection order. And this is all under the UDC 7.1.E, and also it all falls under the 16.6 for her to have to prove a hardship other than a slope on the land or a waterway. So I feel like she's broken the law intentionally, and there's nothing else like this on our street. So it looks bad. It brings property value down. And I have no intention of hurting her or harassing her in any way. we just ignore her and go our own separate ways. We play like she doesn't even live there. And the other neighbors have all grouped together. They all text each other. If the one neighbor complains about my yard man blowing leaves in the yard, the police go and question these 5 girls, and they've all got their stories the same, and the police believe them. And we're just senior citizens being bullied because we're old. And, I'm old enough to be her father. And like I say, never had a problem like this, ever. I've got a perfect clean record, and like she says, I do have my CCW. So my background's been checked by, I guess, the state and federal. I have nothing on my police record at all, not even a traffic ticket, until she started with complaining about the bread. And I don't know what to do about it. I wish they would just stop and they would leave us alone. I'm probably after my 3 minutes.
No, sir, you have 10 minutes, and your time.
I don't want to bore you with all the details of the protection order because it really doesn't have anything to do with the laws. And I know that y'all are here to enforce the laws and to hear the situation, but we're no threat at all. I've never even said anything aggressive to her at all.
I see that your time has expired, Mr. Greer, and I will say, we take each case on a case-by-case basis. As far as the questions, the board has its time to deliberate, and if anybody want to address those issues that you put up in deliberation, they will. But we take each case on a case-by-case basis, and one don't fit all. One scenario does not fit all. So thank you for your testimony.
All right.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak against this application? Please come forward.
Good afternoon. My name's David Harris. I live at 331 Albert Avenue, 1105, 5 doors down from the property in question. I'm here to oppose the variance for the height on 349 Albert. Besides the normal loss of property value in a neighborhood associated with a large unsightly fence extending into the front yard, there is another issue. It's well known in our neighborhood there's a long-running disagreement between Dr. Gardner and the Greers who share the fence in question. I believe to be this the real reason for the variance request. There are also several neighbors in our area that have actively aided this tension, this ongoing tension. Because the Greers are over 60, she's 73 and he is 68 and disabled, there are special laws in place to protect them from harassment and abuse. The path these neighbors are currently taking is very close to breaking one or more of these laws if they have not already done so. The fence variance may be construed as aiding in this harassment. It is possible that the city could be held culpable in its participation. I'm sorry I waited too long to approach these neighbors and try to come up with a resolution, but I'm hopeful to speak with Dr. Gardner and all the other neighbors so that we can come to decompress the situation and come to a compromise in an attempt to restore the peace in our neighborhood. Because I don't believe personally that all these tensions should exist, and I believe something went astray somewhere. I think it can be addressed and fixed. So, and that's about all I have to say about that.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Is there any questions from the board for Mr. Harris?
Yes, I have a question. Mr. Harrison, do you believe the fence that's proposed, do you believe it obstructs her view from backing out?
Do I believe it obstructs her view from backing out?
Backing out of her driveway.
when she first starts out backing out of the driveway, but I believe that by the time she gets to the end of the driveway, she's not going to have
Okay, thank you, sir.
an issue.
Any other questions? If not, thank you for your testimony. Is there anyone else wishing to speak against this application? Please come forward.
I am
Please.
Susan Lamart. I live at 347 Albert Avenue, Shreveport, 71105. This is my husband, Jerry Greer. And I feel like that just as Megan said, that I've been running to people's doors with a gun and trying to brandish my way into people's front doors. If that were true, first of all, the police should have been called. Secondly, I should have been arrested, and I wouldn't be here today talking about it. And there has been so many things that has been said wrong. It's been taken and totally turned around. And I heard the lady, Elizabeth Lewent. I was sitting on my porch one day when they came home. I was out there first, writing in a journal that my granddaughter gave me for Mother's Day, and she must have decided I was writing about her, and she kept giving me mean looks. I'm trying to enjoy my front porch. I'm 73. She's only 40. I have less years. This is the sunset of our life. And I heard her tell her husband she wanted to sue us. And not only that, he said, well, that takes money. And I have done nothing to her. I've never even formally been introduced to her. And when I found out that her cousin, who her son really admired, and her cousin was killed, and we saw the video that Megan showed us, being shot right on Bourbon Street down in New Orleans, and I don't understand why. I sent the sympathy card. I didn't even really know her, but I went and bought a sympathy card, and I also wrote in it that I knew, or I had heard, that her son really looked up to this uncle of his that got shot and passed away. Would I have done that if I didn't like her? I'd never even really met her face to face. And I also included in that I was sorry that her son, lost someone that they really looked up to and really admired. And we're just trying to live out the sunset of our life. And these people have started to click, and they all pass around texts. One time, Elizabeth and Megan both had all the neighbors come and stand in Elizabeth Lewent's driveway, and it was all because of us. We didn't know why. We've been wondering, what is this? What have we done wrong? And she had all these people. This is a doctor. How many doctors do that?
Ms. Susan, your time has expired. Is there any questions from the board? If not, I do have a question for you. I heard you state that you're sitting on your front porch and somebody is staring at you, peeping at you, actually disturbing your peace. Is not the fence help to cure that?
The fence-
the fence does obscure you from seeing her.
No, it doesn't. The fence is sideways between myself and Megan's house. That she sits across her house is across the street.
Oh.
And she kept giving me this mean look, and then I heard her tell her husband she'd like to sue us, and her husband said that takes money. And I was out there first. I didn't know they were going to come driving up, and she was going to be insulted because I was on my porch writing in my journal my granddaughter gave me for Mother's Day. And
I did ask you for the question, and I appreciate you answering it. before us is the fence, the variance on the fence. And I'm hearing everything but something about the fence. But I appreciate your testimony. Your time has expired. And so we thank you for your testimony. And I'll ask, is there any other witnesses that want to speak against this case?
May I say one more thing?
You may.
Elizabeth Lewin, before she said that, her 2 children plus another child were out in the street, or out, not in the street, but out in their front yard playing.
Is it relevant to the fence?
Well, the things that they have said is not relevant to the fence. The things they've said is relevant.
You're right, ma'am, but your time has expired, and I have granted wide latitude, and we can go on and on and on, and it's not addressing what's before us, and what is before us is the variance on the fence. And so I'm asking you, if you do have another comment, please tell me about the fence.
I do have another comment.
It must be about the fence.
It's not about the fence. None of these comments were about the fence.
Your time has expired. Thank you.
She yelled the F word where everyone could hear it. And she's studying for mental health for children in elementary school.
Thank you.
And I think that's wrong. It's not a good example. And it wasn't about the fence. What she said was not about the fence.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak against this application? If not, Ms. Gardner, you have a rebuttal if you wish to, or anyone wishing to speak for you may come forward and do a rebuttal. Ms. Gardner, you have 3 minutes.
Yes, I can assure you that not one neighbor has ever initiated anything against the Mr. Greer, Ms. Lamart. Some neighbors respond to the issues by yelling at them. I do not. I can also assure you that even in the last few weeks and months, they have tried to talk to me. I didn't realize they came outside one day. I was in my front yard, and Mrs. Lamart was at the end of the driveway going, Megan, Megan, Dr. Megan, Megan, and I ran inside. I just want my peace. The planter boxes, I did not grow up with a father who taught me how to do any life skills, and I bought a saw, and I sure did build those planter boxes, so they're probably not the best, but I did that because they continued to harass me past the past that, and I know those are not part of this zoning issue. I do not have a sewage problem. That has been verified. Mr. Greer was arrested in his front yard for chasing Mrs. Lamart with a machete years ago, so I do know that violence is a possibility, which is also what plays into my fears. I would just like my peace. I would like to be left alone. Their neighbors on the other side have 8-foot fencing as well. They had a camera going into the Elliott's backyard to spy on them. Every camera in my yard was at the recommendation of Detective Barker of the Shreveport Police Department. I just want my peace. I want to be left alone, and I appreciate your time, and I'm sorry that we all had to be here today.
Thank you very much. No, ma'am. The board is now going to call for a motion.
I make a motion to approve.
I make a motion to second.
It's been moved by Mr. Gibson and seconded by Ms. Anderson. Shall the board deliberate? Is there anyone who wishes to deliberate this applicant? If not, shall we vote?
I can make a comment.
Okay. Ms. Anderson, please.
I'll just make a comment for the record, based on the information contained in the application and the staff recommendation. I just want to, the character of the neighborhood is not going to be determined by this fence, and there is no public health or safety concern for the residents based on this application. And for that reason, I do motion to approve.
I'll make another comment for the record, and that is, I don't believe that that new fence is going to devalue property standards, property values in the neighborhood. I do not concur with that, and for that reason as well, I'm going to vote in favor. Shall we vote? The motion is carried unanimously. Thank you for your time. Next case on our agenda is case number 25-37-BAC variance. Mr. Leonard, please come forward. Mr. Leonard, please state your name, mailing address, and zip code for the records, please.
Yes, Meltravius Leonard, 174 Southfield Road, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71105. I come today simply because I'm a state trooper, and with that privilege, I have a take-home vehicle, and I read the recommendation. It's for denial, so I was basically here to see what can be a alternative solution for me to do, since I probably won't be getting that carport built. Could I just like make it an extension of my garage, or, you know, because from the roadway, Southfield's a pretty busy road, and I mean, everybody can see that, hey, a trooper lives here. I already had some people like, man, you live there? I'm like, yeah. And my only other option is to just leave my unit at the troop, or just move, because I've been at the house longer than I've been a trooper.
Yes, thank you, sir. Yes, I believe that there are options. And one of the options, if you want me to just elaborate, you could make a carport that is attached to the house itself. That makes it a part of it. There are many carports in your neighborhood that are attached to the house, and I believe that you would not have to have a variance for a carport, or indeed a garage that was attached to the roof of the house and part of the house. So that is an option for you. The fact that you're asking for a metal building, it definitely doesn't comport with the standards for the neighborhood, and that's why I think you got the negative recommendation from the staff. But you do have options, and if you care to elaborate.
Yes, he would still need a variance, but if we had something that was more compatible with the neighborhood, I believe we could get to where we are recommending, or at least saying that approval is warranted. So if he's willing to look at a different design, I would recommend you defer and continue this case and let us work with him over the next couple of weeks, and then we can come back and then you can act. And
Mr. Leonard, does that?
I mean, that sounds awesome.
Okay.
I just I mean, you say attach it to a home. I never seen a carport like that. That's why I'm a little confused on it.
Well,
we will be glad to work with you on that and give you some options of what you could do.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank you for your service as a state trooper. We appreciate it, and we'll try to help you, but we definitely have to think about the rest of the neighborhood. So we're going to try to give you some options that'll work for you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else on the board? Can I get a motion to continue this case for later?
You need to go ahead and ask if there's anybody else to speak on this case.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we dispensed with that. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the case? This applicant? Is there anyone wishing to speak against this application?
Carol Berry, 2509 Thornhill Avenue, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71104. This feels oddly familiar,
Looks oddly too.
but a little different. I own a property across the street from this address, which my parents bought in 1952 when it was a new home. So in effect, I'm the second owner of the property. The neighborhood since that time has remained relatively stable and maintained the same character. I appreciate the board working with the applicant to come up with a better design. I just want to be on record as I am categorically opposed to what was depicted in the packet. Just a metal, prefab metal structure stuck in front of the property is not at all what I think anyone on the street would want. The house next door has a similar, as you described, attached carport. And I think it could probably be incorporated in some way for his property as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We appreciate you for coming to see us. Any questions? Anyone else wishing to speak against this applicant? If not, I'll entertain a motion to. I don't think so. Can I get a motion to table this for another hearing so that the applicant may work with staff to come up with a different design that may be more plausible?
I'll make a motion.
Can I get a second? It's been moved by Mr. Gibson and second by Dr. Brennan to table this until a further date. Can we vote? Motion is carried unanimously. Next case on our agenda is case number 25-38-BAC variance. Kevin Bryant Architect LLC, variance to building height and setback requirements.
Thank you. I'm Kevin Brown with Kevin Brown Architects, 712 Texas Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. I am the architect for the proposed dome for G Unit Studios, and as architect, I'm here to answer any questions about the project. Also, here, of course, in support of the project. We are proposing to build a uniquely shaped, world-class entertainment structure that is both for entertainment and as also a multi-purpose space for general use from the public, from the private sector, schools, you name it. It's intended to be a multi-purpose space. Also proposing to design a privately owned public park as part of the amenity for this venue. We are here to ask for a height variance. I believe we have an 80-foot height restriction for any structures in this particular block, as well as asking for a variance for what's called the build to lot line. As a spherical shaped structure, building it to a straight property line does not exactly work. And so we believe the project is going to be a great thing for Shreveport. It's going to be unique, and it's going to be perfectly appropriate as it's being built in the entertainment district. I'm here to answer any questions regarding the project. I understand we have staff support for the project, and I've also received a letter, and I believe you have a copy of it from the DDA in support of this project as well. So I'm here to make myself available to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the board? Mr. Brown, I asked the question when in our pre-meeting, and I don't know if you have available. I'm trying to get a sense of the height of this building in the setting relative to everything else around it. And I was trying to get, is there any drawing that you have that shows what I see doesn't give me a sense of height comparison and actual size. I'm looking at the.
It is shorter than most of the high-rises in downtown, and it is shorter than most of the hotels along the riverfront. So we are somewhere in that, we're closer to the height of the riverfront development. Obviously, we're not as high as tall as the tallest skyscrapers downtown, but we are well within the height range of what is currently surrounding us. As I understand, the 80-foot height was applied at a date relatively recently, in the last 12 to 15 years. I don't, as I appreciate it, I don't understand that height restriction was always that case, and I'm not sure if you can.
It's an 80-foot exception, right? It's not. What's the total height of the dome?
We're going to be approximately 160 feet tall.
160 feet
at max. Yeah, yes, sir.
And that would be an 80-feet variance.
It would be the variances in request of building higher than the 80-foot restriction.
Well, any other questions from the board? If not, is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Many. Thank you for having us here again. And just again, let me first just say thank you. We've been in front of you a few times, and you've been very accommodating.
Could I get your name and address and
Yes, my name is Orville Hall. I am G Unit Growth Advisor, and my address is 1606 Cross Lake Boulevard, Shreveport, Louisiana 71109.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hall. Please
Yeah, so
proceed.
first I just want to say thank you to you guys. You guys have always listened to us and listened to our requests and helped us to move forward in this process. If you don't mind, I'd just like to give you a little background on where this G-Dome idea came from.
You have the floor.
If that's okay. This, from the beginning of the inception of Shreveport with Curtis Jackson, has always been a deliberate economic development idea. When Curtis called, I've been here 11 years working on this idea of what I thought the possibilities of Shreveport can be. And when I introduced the idea to Curtis and he called me in February of 2023, his question to me was, do they still have the tax incentive? So he was very interested in Shreveport, as many would have been if they would have knew it was here. It was a hidden gem on the tax incentive. But when he visited the city and realized that every GPS leads you off of I-20 straight into Market and Spring Street, right? And when I introduced him to that downtown area, and he realized, just like Tyler Perry's studio in Atlanta, people will get off the highway as they're riding through Atlanta just to go see the outside of Tyler Perry's studio as a tourist attraction. So what we knew from the beginning as an economic development plan, that was one of the benefits, that people would ride through Shreveport, who has a great highway interchange through it, 49, 220, I-20 that comes all the way from Atlanta. People would get off I-20 and they would then see a deserted downtown. So I just want to give you some background that from the beginning, his idea was, I can't just come and do the film facility if I don't address the downtown, because I would be doing Shreveport a disservice by not having the downtown be this new vibrant place once the tourists get off the highway. So that stadium uniquely, right now in Maryland, they're putting one at the harbor in Maryland. So you're seeing the big city attraction turned into these smaller destinations that can curate an experience for tourists that Curtis Jackson shown during Human Harmony. So I just want to give my background on what this was really about. It was an economic development idea that he knew would affect this city in a unique way with so much traffic getting off I-20 Spring and Market. So the buildings he bought are in the same footprint. Everything that he's developing is in the same footprint. And this attraction, to me, will make Shreveport in this region that has 13 million people under 200 miles driving distance. That would make this city, to me, one of the most visited cities in the nation overnight. So I hope for your consideration on this building, and let's all road to Shreveport. Thank you for your time today.
Is there any questions for Mr. Hall? I do have one, and it's not before this board. It's not the height variance and the setback is, but since you elaborated on the background of the concept, can you give me some help on where's parking? How and what have you done to manage that part of this project? Parking seemed like to me would be an issue, and it's not informed me, so
Yeah.
I just want to know.
And that's a valid question. Human Harmony, when we were planning for Human Harmony with SportTran, we had the same questions.
Mm-hmm.
What about parking? Unfortunately, or fortunately, Shreveport downtown has several vacant parking lots that aren't being used now. And we opened many of them during Human and Harmony. And what they actually also did was have the traffic go straight down and use more of North Market, straight down, and had shuttles bringing people back and forth. Back and forth in the city. So it was a combination of opening a lot of. Curtis actually bought 3 parking lots also. That's a part of this downtown growth plan, and North Market is a vision of creating more possible parking to come straight downtown. So if you notice during Human Harmony, that wasn't one of the bigger complaints of parking. People parked. One thing unique about Shreveport's downtown, once you park, you can walk to the Hilton, 2 casinos, the 2 event centers that Curtis is putting together, the Red River District, and the additional businesses that he's bringing to that market. So again, it's opening back up the parking lots that's now at the moment closed for parking that can come straight from 220 down into downtown Shreveport.
Thank you for that answer.
Okay.
It was just for my clarification. Is there any other questions for Mr. Hall?
I may have just a couple.
Yes.
Based on being a growth advisor and just knowing that some of the reasons for our variances on the setbacks and different things pertain to just the vibrance of our city, the atmosphere of our city, as well as pedestrian traffic.
Yes.
How would you speak to that to say how that will benefit Shreveport? In a positive way. What do you expect from if this, as this comes forward?
Right.
What is your expectation in those 3 categories?
Well, again, the first thing I did when I came up here was thank you guys, right? Because throughout this project, this is a very unique project to any city. And throughout this project, you guys have listened to us, understood the idea of that this is an economic development plan and how we hope to participate to make everything happen. During Human Harmony, Curtis spent close to $600,000 on police security, and we worked days and days and nights with SportTran. So when it comes to the pedestrian walking, the police, SPD, and again, I would have to say thank you to every department. SPD stepped in. We didn't have to control that. SPD stepped in with working with the sheriff, unique relationship with the sheriff's department, SPD, troopers, and we had no violence. And I would call that a part of pedestrians maybe walking in front of cars by accident or blocking roads we had none of that. So again, I would be very transparent to say this is such a unique problem that the human harmony that became the example that Shreveport has the possibilities, they had to solve some of those problems in human harmony. So with a building of this attraction, I would expect us to put the attention to safety like we did, like we performed already, so that Shreveport can have an attraction that no other region in the South has at the moment. So I would lean very hard again on SPD, right, to help us with crowd control and the uniqueness of a downtown that I would not stand here and not say walking traffic is going to be a target, because that's the unique of Shreveport's downtown. You could put your bag down and walk from the convention center to the casinos, to the Dome, to Stageworks, to the restaurants, to Restaurant Row. We hope to bring dinner cruises on the casino and on the Red River. And these are the visions that we're looking for to make Shreveport, I believe, the #1 visited city in the nation per capita. So some of those things, I'll be very transparent to you to say, thank God Curtis Jackson gave us the example of humor and harmony, because I wouldn't have been able to honestly answer some of those questions or concerns you may have. But the city stepped up, and I believe the city will step up in a long-term way to make this work. And Shreveport would have, I'm going to say this, and not because I keep imagining, just imagine you riding through the South Shreveport, going here or there, and you do get off. What other city's entrance is going to be this dynamic? Even in Vegas, the Spare is way somewhere over there in the back of a parking lot somewhere. And if you get tickets and you can go, then you can go experience it. But a vision coming off I-20 and riding down Market Street or Spring Street and seeing this beautiful attraction closer than any other city has sort of made an attraction of this kind. So again, for the example Curtis gave us, human harmony, I'm sure we can make this a very attractive city for people to visit, but because of the uniqueness also of Shreveport's box downtown, our plan is to also make it the safest experience that people have experienced.
Mr. Hall, briefly, since you mentioned economic development, and that's near and dear to my heart,
Yes.
I mean, it really is, it always has been, as long as I've been in Shreveport. Can you, since you spoke on it, can you give us, me at least, an idea, how would this operate? Is this a weekly thing? Is it going to be attraction coming in on certain times? Will this dome be operational throughout the week? Just an idea as to how the economic development will happen.
Well, again, as a tourist driver, right. Again, I mentioned there are 13 million people under 200 miles to Shreveport driving, so we don't even need the airport yet for expansion or a growth in tourism per capita that I think would make us #1 visited city overnight.
Well, I don't doubt that, but what I'm asking is this going to be year-round? Is it going to be? Is it going to be an operation that's ongoing all the time?
Listen. Again, and I might make you laugh at this. If you saw the movie Casino, right?
Right.
That was me standing downtown telling Curtis Jackson, this could be Vegas. This could be Times Square. This could be Nashville. This could be Memphis, Beale Street. This could be Austin, Texas, right? So I say that because that's what we want to compete with a city. We want this city to be open for business every weekend with tourists coming from here and far to airplanes, give you a reason, give the airport a new why to expand the airport. But the main economic idea of this is just the proximity of Shreveport. Just the proximity is a huge.
So you anticipate it being every weekend? Is that
Every weekend.
Oh, that answers my
Oh yeah,
question.
yeah, yeah. No. This downtown again, and don't think I'm sort of stepping out too far. You have 2 casinos already,
Right.
right? Casinos are every weekend. So why would Shreveport close? And then you have a guy, Curtis Jackson, who said, I'm having a festival, and then all of a sudden Dave Chappelle shows up. So not only does Shreveport now will have the attractions that I visioned and Curtis put his money to show the possibilities, but we also have the curator in Curtis Jackson. And I'm going to tell you right now, he is so excited about Shreveport. Once these activities start, they will not stop.
Thank you, Mr. Hall.
Okay.
Anybody else with any questions? Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application?
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Anytime.
Is there someone else coming? I think so.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, staffs, and all of you all who are gathered here today. I am Cedric B. Glover, Executive Director of the Downtown Development Authority. You all should also have a letter from us that I hope has been shared with you that is reflective of the sentiment of our board. We are
Mr.
here
Glover,
today.
give us your address, please.
Cedric Glover, 416 Cotton Street, 71101.
Thank you very much.
We are here today to express our enthusiastic support for the variance that is being sought. And we do so not because we view what is before you in a vacuum. We see it as a part of the collective effort that, as was just expressed to you, had its start all the way back in February of 2023 when Mr. Jackson made his first visit to Shreveport to talk about coming here to do production. We see him stepping forward to make use of 2 specialized assets that are owned by the city of Shreveport. To be able to elevate those assets to their highest and best use is a special and unique opportunity that should not be missed. And by that, I mean the Millennium Ledbetter Studio Complex, as well as the Stageworks Complex. Both of those were developed to be able to facilitate the development and production of film, television, and other media. Mr. Jackson's ability to be able to use those facilities for what they were intended to be represents something that I think can be transformative for Shreveport. We know that prior to 2015, when we saw a loss of the industry here within this area, one of the most positive things that we've had happen in the history of Northwest Louisiana was the film industry. Mr. Jackson gives us a chance to be able to make a return back to that in a way that is attached to someone who actually has a demonstrated history of success within that industry. He's doing so, in my estimation, in an effort that will also encompass the development of an ecosystem. You have Stageworks, you have Millennium, you have the other assets that he's bought within downtown and is working on plans to develop. And as he has expressed, he sees what he is doing here as a part of establishing and building the legacy that he wants to leave behind. And within that context, I think he views this G-Dome as the special events venue that would be a part of that ecosystem, that will be a part of the mix of the activities that he wants to be able to program that helps to not only end up having us benefit directly from the film and television industry itself, but all of the other things that go along with that as people are drawn to visit and participate within this community. When you look at issues, Mr. Woods, like parking, as you've referenced, and I'm certainly prepared to answer and address any of the questions that you have, one of the things I think you should look at first and foremost is that you see this in many respects similar to Strand Theater. Strand Theater is a development that holds several thousand individuals, and we have regular events that are planned for there, and they bring hundreds and hundreds and sometimes thousands of people into downtown, but there is no dedicated parking structure or area for the Strand Theater because our downtown has the capacity to be able to absorb that kind of situational flow when it comes to the events that are scheduled there. In this particular case, the G-Dome, if approved, would have the advantage of having access to all of the existing parking structures that are around it, from the American Tower to the others that are within proximity, as well as the vast amounts of surface and curbside parking that is available throughout the area as well. And so there are a multitude of reasons that we think are all good to be able to allow this to move forward. What you have before you in terms of current zoning provisions are guidelines that if you're looking at things from a traditional development standpoint, if somebody was coming in and looking to build the traditional type of building and structure, then that would be something that would be appropriate. One of the reasons as to why we make provisions for variances is that sometimes you end up with an iconic vision like this one coming forward that needs some additional leeway and consideration, and that's what's being sought here. So with my time being up, I'll now stand for any questions that you all may have for me.
Thank you, Mr. Glover. Is there any questions for the board? I just have one since you're standing there, and it's just my curiosity. Can you shed any light on G?
Any light on?
G, what's the G stand for? And G.
Well, the one thing I can assure you is that it doesn't stand for Glover.
What you're not willing to tell us. The G has a significance, and my curiosity has got the best of me.
I think that is the brand that Mr. Jackson developed some years ago when he started out within the industry. I've heard various explanations for what it stands for and what it means, but since I've now turned 60, I'm going to leave that to those of Mr. Gibson's generation.
But it's not for Glover.
It is definitely not for Glover. I can guarantee you that. So now that's what I tell you all on the records. Now what I've told my nieces and nephews and other folks in the neighborhood, that may be a different story altogether.
Thank you, Mr. Glover. I appreciate you indulging me.
Thank you, Mr. Woods.
Is there anyone else in favor of this application? Please come forward.
Good afternoon, board members.
Good afternoon.
I am Tabitha Taylor, Chairwoman of the Shreveport City Council. My address is 331 Milam Street, Suite 200, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71101. First of all, let me thank you for your support that you have provided this project already, because it has multiple layers and multiple partners in order to see this project come to fruition. So you are the guiding force right now on making sure that this G-Dome comes to fruition. And so the study that was commissioned by G-Unit tells you that this will yield $19 billion over 20 years, 6,000 people that will be employed. And those are the numbers that we need to look at. When you talk about driving economic development, this is an economic development driver. And it's the economic development driver that you overwhelmingly play a part in. As we look at the support from DDA and we look at the support from the Louisiana Department of Economic Development, you've had the support from the Shreveport City Council, the Mayor's Office, as well as the Parish Commission. Trust me, everybody wants a piece of G-Unit right now. But Shreveport has it because all roads do lead to Shreveport, Louisiana. But all roads lead here with the support that we're providing for this economic development project. So what I am asking you, and you say, what does that G stands for? God, thank you for Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, you know, and
Can't
his
argue with
vision
that.
to want to come to Shreveport and his team. So I'm not claiming that it's the Glover, but I don't blame Glover. I would tell the people, for real, this G stand for Glover for my family. But for me, it is God, thank you, that Curtis Jackson comes to Shreveport, Louisiana, and that he has a vision, and thank you, Orville Hall, and everyone else who played a role in this. So I'm asking for your overwhelming support for this project, because when you approve it, what will happen is that all of this construction will start, people will drive by, look at it, see what's happening, and then what can be done or what everybody else talks about, you begin to see it manifest.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For City Council, is there any questions from the board? We
Thank y'all
so
so much, my heart can stop beating fast.
Thank you so much. I know it's a different position for you.
I know it.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor of this application? If not, is there anyone wishing to speak against this application? That being said, can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
It's been moved by Mr. Gibson and second by Dr. Brandon to approve. Are we ready to deliberate? Are we ready to vote? Since there's no deliberation, let's vote. Seems like the vote is unanimous. We thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Board, thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome. That brings us to the end of our cases before the board today. Is there anything from?
No, I don't have a report today.
Okay, no report today. Is there anyone in the audience that wish to come forward and address the board? We appreciate you coming. Any board members have anything to say? Well, we'd like to invite everybody to drive safe and look out for the weather. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.